The solar panel on my testing bench was still warm when my phone buzzed. March 15th, 2024. I'm Jack Brenner, 52, and I'd just cracked the efficiency problem that had been eating at me for 4 months. The panel was pulling 23.8% conversion rate when the industry standard barely hit 20.2%. Real breakthrough stuff that could drop the LCOE to $0.04 per kilowatt hour. Rachel Martinez wanted everyone in conference room A. Now, I walked in with test results still in my hand. The whole engineering team was there. Rachel stood at the head of the table wearing that fake smile she used when quarterly numbers looked bad. She'd been under pressure from the board for 6 months. Great quarter, everyone. SolarMax just locked our biggest contract yet. Austin Energy wants 80 megawatts of solar infrastructure for their Phase 1 expansion. People clapped. I clapped too, knowing my breakthrough made that win possible. But we need to streamline operations. The board wants 15% cost reduction. Some positions don't align with our lean trajectory. That sick feeling hit my gut. I'd seen this playbook before. Jack Brenner is no longer with SolarMax. Effective immediately. Dead silence. You could hear the HVAC system cycling. Nobody looked at me. These people I'd worked with for 4 years suddenly found their tablets very interesting. Jack's talented, but we need fresh perspectives. Sometimes 25 years of experience can create resistance to change. 6 patents, $200 million in cost savings from my innovations, and she calls me resistant to change. I stood up, grabbed my test results, walked toward the door. Oh, Jack, please leave any proprietary materials, including those efficiency tests. The whole room watched. I looked at the papers in my hand. 4 months of 12-hour days. The breakthrough that would make Austin Energy's renewable mandate achievable. The technology that could revolutionize residential solar. I set them on the table and walked out. Security was waiting by my desk. Young guy, probably fresh out of college. He watched me pack personal stuff into a banker's box. Family photo of me and Caleb at his high school graduation. Coffee mug saying world's okayest dad. 15 years of accumulated desk life. The walk to my F-150 felt like a mile. I sat in the parking lot staring at the SolarMax building. Modern glass and steel with environmental buzzwords etched in the lobby. Powering tomorrow's clean future. The irony wasn't lost on me. My phone was buzzing. Word travels fast in Austin's tight-knit energy sector. Half the messages were sorry to hear nonsense from people who'd probably cheered when Rachel made the announcement. The other half were recruiters smelling blood in the water. I drove home through afternoon traffic on I-35. My ex-wife Linda was dropping off Caleb for the weekend. She took one look at my face and knew. What happened? Got canned. Rachel decided experienced engineers are bad for business. Caleb looked up from his phone. He's 17 now, taller than me, starting to think about college engineering programs. Dad, that's messed up. Didn't you just solve that efficiency thing you've been working on? Yeah, I did. Linda got that look she used to get during our marriage when I'd come home with bad corporate news. Part sympathy, part, why didn't you see this coming? What are you going to do? Figure it out. I always do. That evening, Caleb and I ordered Torchy's tacos and watched Netflix. He kept asking if I was okay. I said fine, which was mostly a lie. Kid's got college applications and SATs coming up. He doesn't need to stress about his old man's career problems. After he went to bed, I sat on my back deck with a Shiner Bock. Austin's night sounds filled the quiet. Sirens on Mopac, neighbor's pool pump, distant music from the entertainment district. I scrolled through job listings on my phone. Senior engineer positions, mostly in California or North Carolina. Nothing excited me. Then I noticed the email. Subject: Impressive work on solar efficiency optimization. Sender: West Grant, Clearwater Ventures. Mr. Brenner, I attended your presentation at the Texas Energy Summit last year. Your grid integration methodology was 5 years ahead of anything else in the room. I heard about today's developments at SolarMax. If you're interested in taking that efficiency breakthrough to its logical conclusion, I'd like to discuss an opportunity. Clearwater specializes in disruptive clean energy solutions. Call me at your convenience. West Grant. I read it 3 times, pulled up his LinkedIn. 25 years defense contracting with Lockheed, then pivoted to clean tech investing. $500 million under management. Real money, real connections, real track record. I called him. Jack, thanks for calling. I assume today wasn't your choice. Not exactly. Rachel Martinez is classic short-term thinking. Quarter-to-quarter management kills innovation. She'll take your breakthrough, water it down to hit cost targets, miss the real opportunity entirely. He was right. I'd watched her do it with 3 other innovations in the past 2 years. What did you have in mind? Build it right, your way, with proper funding and freedom to do it correctly. What's the catch? No catch. Just conditions. Total discretion until we're ready for market. No social media, no conferences, no telling former colleagues what you're working on. Can you operate in stealth mode? I thought about Rachel calling me resistant to change, about watching my breakthrough become another incremental improvement designed by committee. Yeah, I can live with that. Good. Can you meet tomorrow morning? 9 a.m., downtown Austin, 1 Congress Plaza. After I hung up, I sat there longer. The neighbor's dog had stopped barking. Everything was quiet except for the distant hum of the city. For the first time since walking out of SolarMax, I felt something besides anger and embarrassment. I felt like maybe getting fired was about to become the best thing that ever happened to me. The next morning, I drove to Wes Grant's office in one of those glass towers that screams serious venture capital money. 32nd floor, reception area that looked like it belonged in Architectural Digest. The receptionist knew my name before I announced myself. Mr. Brenner, Mr. Grant is expecting you. His office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lady Bird Lake and the Austin skyline. West was maybe 58, distinguished silver hair, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage. But when he shook my hand, it felt genuine. No corporate performance art. Coffee? I've got a La Marzocco that makes better espresso than most Italian cafes. He poured 2 cups from a machine that looked like it belonged in a spaceship. Tell me about your efficiency breakthrough. The real version, not the sanitized pitch deck they probably made you create. So I did. I explained the new crystalline structure that could boost photovoltaic efficiency to nearly 24%. How it could be manufactured at scale without rare earth materials. How it would make solar competitive with natural gas in Texas, even without federal subsidies. How it could revolutionize the economics of residential solar nationwide. He listened without interrupting, occasionally taking notes on a legal pad. When I finished, he leaned back in his leather chair. How long to build a prototype production line that proves commercial viability? With the right team and proper funding, 12 months to pilot production. Budget requirements? $3.5 million to prove the concept. Maybe $30 million for a full pilot plant that can produce 500 panels per day. He nodded like those numbers were pocket change. I'll fund the full pilot plant. Complete autonomy on design and engineering decisions. You pick your team, you set the timeline, you build it your way. What about IP ownership? 60% yours, 40% Clearwater. But here's the important part. If this works the way I think it will, we're not licensing the technology to existing players. We're going to market ourselves. We're going to build a company that obsoletes the old guard. You want to compete directly with SolarMax? I want to make SolarMax irrelevant. That got my attention. We talked for another hour about timelines, budgets, and team structure. West had done serious homework. He knew which engineers had been laid off from SunPower, First Solar, and other major players. He knew about the available manufacturing facilities in East Austin's industrial corridor. He even knew which supply chains we'd need for silicon wafers and inverter components. One more thing, he said as I prepared to leave. This stays completely dark until we're ready for commercial launch. No patents filed yet, no conference papers, no hiring announcements. We build this in complete stealth mode. Why the secrecy? Because the moment word gets out that Jack Brenner is building next-generation solar technology, every major energy company will mobilize to stop us. Legal challenges, supplier pressure, regulatory complaints. Better to let them think you've disappeared from the industry entirely. I signed the paperwork that afternoon. NDA thicker than a phone book, employment agreement, equity structure. By the time I walked out of that building, I was officially CTO of a company that didn't officially exist yet. That weekend, I started making very quiet calls. Peter Walsh was first on my list. He'd been my lead systems architect at SolarMax before they restructured him out 18 months ago. Smart guy, MIT PhD, could solve integration problems in his sleep. Now he was doing freelance consulting for small renewable companies, making about half his former salary. Jack? Man, I heard about what happened. That's rough. Actually, it might be the best thing that ever happened to me. You available for a consulting project? Depends. What kind of project? The kind where we build something that could change the entire solar industry, and the kind where we don't tell anyone what we're working on for the next year. Long pause. I'm listening. Can't say much over the phone. But remember that efficiency breakthrough I was working on? What if I told you we could take it all the way to commercial production? No corporate interference, proper funding, build it exactly right the first time. I'd say, when do we start? Sarah Kim came next, manufacturing engineer, clean room production specialist who'd spent 8 years at Applied Materials before SolarMax poached her. They'd optimized her position away when production moved to their Mexico facility. Last I heard, she was working at some startup making phone charging stations. Jack, heard about SolarMax, Rachel's loss, honestly. Thanks. Listen, how would you feel about getting back into real solar manufacturing? Not just assembly, but building production lines from scratch, state-of-the-art clean rooms, precision equipment, the whole 9 yards. I'd feel like Christmas morning. What's the catch? No catch. Just total confidentiality until launch. We're building something revolutionary, and we can't afford leaks. Where do I sign? By late May, we had assembled a core team of 6, all people who'd been discarded by the big solar companies during various restructuring initiatives, all people with serious technical chops and something to prove. We rented 12,000 square feet in an industrial complex off Highway 183. Nothing fancy, just concrete floors, high ceilings, and 3-phase power infrastructure. The space had previously housed a semiconductor packaging operation, so it already had some clean room capability. Perfect for our needs. We worked like we were building a moon rocket, because in a way, we were. I'd get to the facility by 6 a.m. and usually didn't leave until after 10 p.m., weekends too. Caleb started complaining that I was becoming obsessed, which wasn't entirely wrong. But this felt different than corporate engineering. This felt like we were building something that would actually matter. The first major milestone came in August. We had designed and built a small-scale production line capable of 50 panels per day. Each panel was hitting 24.1% efficiency in our testing lab. More importantly, the manufacturing process was scalable and used readily available materials. This is actually working, Peter said, staring at our latest batch of test results. I mean, really working. Don't get too excited yet, I cautioned. Lab conditions are different from field deployment. We need real-world validation. But privately, I was thrilled. We had proven the concept could work at small scale. Now we needed to prove it could work at commercial scale. That's when things started getting complicated. It began with small incidents. Sarah noticed someone had been in the facility over a weekend. Nothing was missing, but equipment had been moved slightly. Security cameras showed a maintenance truck, but building management had no record of scheduled work. Then my personal Gmail account got compromised. I caught it quickly. Whoever did it was subtle, but they'd accessed my contact list and recent emails. I changed all my passwords and enabled 2-factor authentication across everything. A week later, Peter got an unsolicited job offer. 6-figure salary, stock options, signing bonus, from a company called Advanced Energy Solutions that claimed to do clean energy consulting. Their website looked professional, but had been registered only 3 weeks earlier. It's suspicious as hell, Peter told me. I've never heard of them. They won't say exactly what projects I'd be working on, and they want me to start immediately. Plus, they somehow knew about my specific background in grid integration. Turn it down. Already did. But Jack, someone's clearly trying to poach the team. That evening I called West and briefed him on the security incidents. He wasn't surprised. They're phishing, he said. Word is starting to leak that something interesting is happening in Austin's solar sector. The major players are getting nervous. Who's they? Could be SolarMax trying to figure out what you're up to. Could be First Solar or SunPower. Your efficiency breakthrough threatens every existing business model in the industry. A 20% efficiency improvement changes everything: pricing, market share, utility procurement decisions. What should we do? Keep building, double down on security, and be very careful who you trust. The next Monday I called an all-hands meeting. Our team had grown to 8 people, and everyone needed to understand what we were up against. Here's the situation, I said. We're 4 months away from having a working pilot plant that can produce 500 panels per day. We're 4 months away from proving that a small company can outperform billion-dollar corporations, but it's going to get harder before it gets easier. Sarah raised her hand. Are we in any actual physical danger? I don't think so. But someone definitely doesn't want us to succeed. Expect job offers, expect pressure, expect attempts to learn what we're building. Good, said Peter. That means we're building something that scares them. By December, we had our pilot plant operational. Clean room environment, automated assembly line, quality control systems that would make NASA proud. We were producing 200 panels per day, each one testing at 24.3% efficiency. The manufacturing cost was 25% lower than industry standard, even at our small scale. West visited on a Friday afternoon, bringing 2 potential investors with him. They walked the production line in silence, occasionally asking technical questions. When we finished the tour, one of them pulled me aside. Mr. Brenner, if you can scale this to 2,000 panels per day while maintaining quality and cost metrics, you'll revolutionize the industry. That's the plan. We'd like to participate in your Series A funding round. That weekend, everything changed. West called Saturday morning with news that would change everything. Austin Energy just released their RFP for Phase 2 expansion. 80 megawatts, $280 million contract over 24 months. But here's the interesting part. They're requiring minimum 23% efficiency and sub $3.50 per watt pricing. Someone wrote those specs knowing exactly what you can deliver. You think they know about our technology? I think someone at Austin Energy remembers your presentation from last year. This is our shot, Jack. If we win this contract, we're not a startup anymore. We're a legitimate threat to the entire industry. The proposal process took 6 weeks of 80-hour work weeks. We had to prove we could scale from 200 panels per day to 1,500 panels per day within 18 months. That meant designing a second production line, securing expanded facility space, and demonstrating supply chain capabilities we didn't yet have. Sarah worked miracles with the manufacturing timeline. Peter designed integration protocols that could handle utility-scale deployment. I focused on the technical specifications, proving our efficiency claims with extensive third-party testing data. Our submitted bid was aggressive, 24.3% efficiency at $3.20 per watt, with delivery starting in 8 months. 3 weeks later, Austin Energy's procurement team called. Mr. Brenner, your efficiency numbers are unusual. We need to verify these claims before we can move forward. What kind of verification? Independent testing at a certified lab, plus a site visit to inspect your manufacturing capabilities. When? Next Tuesday. They arrived with a team of 4 engineers, 2 procurement specialists, and 1 very skeptical project manager. We gave them complete access, production floor, testing lab, quality control data, even our supply chain documentation. The lead engineer, a woman named Dr. Patricia Johnson, spent 3 hours in our testing lab. She brought her own measurement equipment and ran every test twice. Your efficiency claims are legitimate, she said finally. In fact, you're being conservative. These panels are hitting 24.4% under standard test conditions. We prefer to underpromise and overdeliver. Smart policy. One question. Can you really scale to 1,500 panels per day by next fall? With the Austin Energy contract as anchor funding, yes. We'll need to build out a second production line and hire 40 more people, but the fundamentals are proven. 2 weeks later, we got the call. Austin Energy had awarded us the contract, $280 million over 24 months. Biggest win in our company's short history. That's when Rachel Martinez resurfaced. I was reviewing delivery schedules when my phone rang. Seeing her name on the caller ID made my stomach drop, but I answered anyway. Jack, congratulations on the Austin contract. Impressive work. Thanks, Rachel. Listen, I know our parting wasn't ideal. That was an unfortunate business decision. But I'd like to discuss a partnership opportunity that could benefit both companies. What kind of partnership? SolarMax has established manufacturing capacity, distribution networks, regulatory relationships with utilities across 12 states. You have breakthrough technology. It makes business sense to work together rather than compete. What are you proposing exactly? A licensing agreement. SolarMax would manufacture and distribute your panels using our existing infrastructure. You'd receive royalties plus a long-term consulting contract. We could scale your technology much faster than you can alone. And if I say no? Her voice shifted, getting colder and more calculated. Jack, you're smart enough to understand the complexities of this industry. Manufacturing at scale involves supply chain relationships, regulatory compliance, utility procurement politics. It would be Unfortunate if technical problems or regulatory challenges slowed down your production timeline just when Austin Energy is counting on timely delivery. There it was. The threat disguised as business advice. I'll think about it, Rachel. Don't think too long. Austin Energy has penalty clauses for late delivery. I hung up and immediately called West. He wasn't surprised by Rachel's approach. She's desperate, he said. Your Austin contract proves that superior technology wins over established relationships. If word spreads that a 2-year-old company is delivering 24% efficiency at competitive prices, every utility in the country will start questioning why they're not using your panels instead of SolarMax's 20% technology. So what do? We accelerate everything, get to market faster, secure more contracts, make ourselves too big to intimidate. The next month brought systematic pressure designed to slow us down. Our primary silicon wafer supplier suddenly discovered quality control issues that would delay shipments by 8 weeks. Our insurance carrier received an anonymous complaint about our facility safety protocols, triggering a comprehensive audit. The City of Austin got 3 separate reports questioning our environmental compliance, leading to unannounced inspections that disrupted production for 2 full days. Someone's playing hardball, Sarah said after the 3rd inspection found absolutely nothing wrong. They're trying to death by 1,000 cuts us. I was getting tired of playing defense. Time for offense. Peter, remember those efficiency test results from SolarMax? The ones I had to leave behind when Rachel fired me? Yeah, what about them? I kept copies. Complete documentation showing how they took my original 24% design and corrupted it to 20% efficiency to hit cost targets. Plus email chains proving they knew the original design was superior but chose to build an inferior product to maximize short-term profits. That's corporate malpractice. It gets better. I also have documentation showing they submitted inflated efficiency data to win their original Austin Energy contracts. They claimed 21% efficiency when their panels were actually delivering 19.8% in field conditions. That's fraud. That's exactly what it is. The next morning, I called Tom Morrison, an investigative reporter for the Austin Business Journal who specialized in corporate malfeasance. We met at Radio Coffee on Barton Springs Road. I have a story for you, I said. Corporate fraud in the solar industry. Falsified performance data submitted to government agencies. Systematic suppression of superior technology to protect market position. Tom's eyes lit up. Tell me more. I laid out the complete timeline. How SolarMax had taken my breakthrough design, deliberately corrupted it to reduce manufacturing costs, then submitted false efficiency data to win government contracts worth hundreds of millions. How they fired me to prevent internal whistleblowing. Do you have documentation? Complete paper trail, test data, email chains, submission documents to Austin Energy, everything. This is huge, Jack. If you can prove a major solar company submitted false data to win government contracts, that's criminal fraud. Federal prosecutors love cases like this. I can prove it. Tom spent 3 weeks investigating, interviewing former SolarMax employees, consulting with industry experts, and verifying my documentation with independent sources. The story broke on Tuesday morning, March 12, 2025. Front page of the Austin Business Journal. SolarMax allegedly submitted false efficiency data to win $200 government contract. Bloomberg picked it up by noon. Reuters had it by 2 p.m. By evening, it was trending on LinkedIn and industry Twitter. Rachel's response was swift and predictable. A corporate statement denying all allegations, threatening lawsuits against disgruntled former employees, spreading false information to damage our reputation. But the damage was immediate and severe. Austin Energy announced they were reviewing all existing SolarMax contracts pending investigation. The Texas Public Utilities Commission opened a formal inquiry. The SEC sent notice they were examining SolarMax's financial reporting practices. SolarMax stock dropped 32% in 2 trading days. Meanwhile, our production line kept running flawlessly. Our production was hitting 400 panels per day by April, with efficiency holding steady at 24.4%. Austin Energy visited twice more, bringing independent testing labs to verify our field performance data. Every test confirmed what we already knew. Our panels were delivering 22% more energy output than SolarMax's best technology. Your panels are changing the economics of solar deployment, Austin Energy's project manager told me during her final inspection. We're seeing 15% better returns on investment compared to our previous installations. That's when the Tesla opportunity materialized. Drew Campbell, Tesla's Director of Energy Partnerships, called on a Thursday morning in May. Mr. Brenner, we've been following your Austin energy project. Tesla is developing next-generation solar roof tiles that require high-efficiency panels for integration. Your 24% technology is exactly what we need. What kind of partnership are you thinking? Can you meet next week in Austin? We'd like to discuss volume requirements. The Tesla team arrived the following Tuesday. 3 engineers, 2 business development people, and Drew Campbell. We gave them the complete tour: production floor, testing lab, quality control systems, even our expansion plans for the second production line. Impressive operation, said their lead engineer after the 3-hour tour. We'd need a pilot program first, 1,000 panels over 2 months to validate integration with our roof tile system. If that works, we're looking at 12,000 panels per month ongoing. I did quick math in my head. 12,000 panels monthly meant 144,000 panels annually. At our current production rate of 400 per day, we could handle maybe 8,800 panels monthly. We'd need serious expansion. What's your timeline? Pilot program starting in August. Full production by January 2026. We'd need to build additional manufacturing capacity. That means significant capital investment. Tesla provides advance payments to qualified suppliers, 50% upfront on confirmed orders. After they left, I called an emergency meeting with West and our core team. We had an opportunity that could transform our company, but it would require aggressive scaling. Here's the situation, I said. Tesla wants 194,000 panels annually. We're currently producing about 105,000 panels annually. We need to double our capacity in 8 months. Sarah pulled up manufacturing projections. We'd need a second production line, expanded clean room space, and 35 additional employees. Capital requirement around $40 million. Revenue potential? Peter asked. Tesla's paying $480 per panel for their specifications. That's $69 million annually, just from one customer. West leaned back in his chair. Let's do it. I'll arrange Series A funding to cover the expansion. The Series A round closed in July at a $120 million valuation. We raised $50 million from a consortium led by Kleiner Perkins with participation from Energy Impact Partners and 2 family offices. The funding allowed us to lease an additional 20,000 square feet, install the second production line, and hire aggressively. By September, we were producing 800 panels per day across 2 shifts. The Tesla pilot program was exceeding performance expectations. Their integrated roof tiles were achieving 26% system-level efficiency, the highest in the residential solar market. That's when Rachel made her final move. Jack, we need to discuss settlement terms. Her voice was different this time, tired, defeated. SolarMax had lost 3 major utility contracts following the fraud investigation. Their stock was down 60% from its March peak. The SEC investigation was expanding into their financial reporting practices. What kind of settlement, Rachel? SolarMax is restructuring operations. The board requested my resignation last month. We're facing multiple class action lawsuits, regulatory penalties, and contract cancellations totaling over $400 million. I'm sorry to hear that. No, you're not. And you shouldn't be. We made this mess ourselves. Long pause. We're prepared to acknowledge that the original panel design was your intellectual property. We'll assign all related patents to Clearwater Solar, plus pay damages for unauthorized use. How much? $28 million. Make it $35 million and we have a deal. Agreed. The settlement announcement came the following week. Major trade publications picked it up immediately. SolarMax settles IP dispute, assigns solar patents to Austin startup. The story positioned us as the David who defeated Goliath through superior technology and ethical business practices. December brought validation beyond our biggest expectations. Tesla confirmed the full production contract, 12,000 panels monthly for 3 years, worth $207 million total. We signed additional contracts with 3 other major customers, bringing our annual committed revenue to $180 million. That evening, I took Caleb out for dinner at Jeffrey's, the kind of place where dinner costs more than I used to make in a week at SolarMax. He was finishing his first semester at UT's engineering program, specializing in renewable energy systems. So you basically destroyed your old company and built a better one? he asked, cutting into his ribeye. I didn't destroy Solar Max. They destroyed themselves by choosing short-term profits over long-term innovation. I just made sure people knew the truth. That's pretty impressive, Dad. My engineering professors talk about your efficiency breakthrough in class. Really? Yeah. Professor Williams says you proved that small companies can out-innovate big corporations if they focus on solving real problems instead of managing quarterly earnings. We ate quietly for a while. Then Caleb looked up from his plate. Are you happy now? Like really satisfied with how everything turned out? I thought about it. The Tesla contract, the settlement money, the new facility we were planning in California, the job offers I was getting from companies that used to ignore my calls. Yeah, I said, I'm really happy. But more than that, I'm proud. We built something that makes the world a little bit better. Good. You deserve this, Dad. The next morning, I drove to our original facility in East Austin. We now had 180 employees across 2 shifts producing 1,200 panels per day. The California facility was scheduled to open in March 2026, adding another 1,000 panels daily. In the lobby, mounted in a glass case, sat the original prototype panel, the one that hit 23.8% efficiency on that March day when Rachel fired me. There was a brass plaque underneath, First Clearwater Solar Panel, March 15, 2024. Efficiency, 23.8%. Sometimes the best thing that can happen is getting fired by someone who doesn't understand innovation. I stood there watching our current production line through the observation windows, panels coming off the line every 45 seconds, each one testing above 24.5% efficiency. Each one proof that doing it right the first time beats cutting corners every single time. My phone buzzed. Email from Stanford University's engineering department. They wanted to license our technology for a research project on space-based solar collection. I smiled and headed to my office. Still plenty of building left to do, and it felt pretty damn amazing.